Have you ever noticed how silence can weigh more than any word? Especially when the topic is money. In many couples, there's a subject that is rarely spoken of, yet it governs decisions, emotions, and even the future of the relationship: finances. And when money becomes a taboo, love begins to lose oxygen. Maybe you know this feeling. You love each other, share dreams. But when the topic is spending, debt, or planning, the mood changes. The dialogue disappears. The gaze hardens. One starts avoiding the other, and the bills that should unite you turn into a silent battlefield. Deep down, it's not about the bill. It's about what money awakens: fear, guilt, shame, a sense of failure. And that's how an invisible wound is born, slowly corroding the relationship. This reality is common in midlife, when our financial life already has a long story. At 40, 50, or 60, many couples carry love and achievements, but also mistakes, debts, and different definitions of what prosperity really means. That's when financial silence turns into a barrier to prosperity after 40. Why is it so hard to talk about money with the person you love? Because talking about money is, in truth, talking about identity. It's saying, this is how I deal with value, with fear, with security. And that requires vulnerability. Since childhood, we've been taught that money is a rational subject, but it has always been deeply emotional. And when two emotional worlds try to manage the same account, the result can be chaos. From a psychological and behavioral perspective, the difficulty in communicating about money is one of the most silent causes of marital conflict. A study by Ramsey Solutions, involving more than 1,000 families in the United States, shows that money is the #1 reason couples argue. And it reveals something essential. 94% of happy couples talk about money often, while 68% of unhappy couples rarely do. In other words, it's not money that destroys love, it's silence. Researchers Jeffrey Dew and Sonia Britt Stewart, writing in the Journal of Family and Economic Issues, confirm that couples with high levels of debt show lower satisfaction and a greater risk of divorce. Debt is not just a number. It creates tension and resentment until the partner begins to look like an opponent. And the National Endowment for Financial Education, NEFE, adds 41% of couples admit hiding financial information from each other, and 75% say that lack of transparency harms their relationship. Millions live in marriages filled with love and hidden bank accounts. Each silence digs a hole in trust until the relationship begins to crumble. Every person carries a financial mindset formed in childhood. If one grew up in a home of scarcity, they seek safety through saving. If the other was raised around abundance or impulsiveness, they associate pleasure with spending. When these two worlds meet, the dialogue becomes a minefield. One speaks of security, the other of freedom, and both feel misunderstood. The consequences are many. First, emotional distance. Second, financial secrets, small omissions, hidden cards. Third, distrust. Fourth, the loss of long-term vision. The mature financial life, which should bring stability, turns into improvisation. And fifth, the most painful, money, which should unite, becomes a reason for separation. But there's good news. The invisible financial wound can be healed, and it all begins with something simple: conscious communication. Learning to talk about money with your spouse is one of the deepest ways to build wealth and maturity. Not only material wealth, but emotional as well. When a couple learns to speak with transparency, they stop fighting each other and start fighting together. And in that moment, money returns to being a force of cooperation, not conflict. Talking about money takes courage, but it also takes method. You can start with simple questions that open space without accusation. How do you feel about our finances? What does money represent to you? What makes you feel most insecure about our financial future? These questions break the ice and create connection. From them, alignment is born. And when a couple learns to talk about money, everything changes. They stop wasting emotional energy on arguments and start building financial independence and maturity. Together, they create a prosperity plan for midlife, understanding that honest dialogue is the foundation of every true restart. What once was a taboo becomes a bridge, and fear gives way to awareness. There is no prosperity where silence exists. Financial freedom after 40 doesn't depend only on how much you earn, but on how much you're able to talk about what you feel. Prosperity after 40 is a journey of reconciliation with your partner, your past, and your own financial story. And if you think it's too late, remember this: maturity is the perfect time to heal what was left unresolved. Now, you have the awareness to talk without blaming, to listen without reacting, and to act with purpose. That is the true abundance after 40. The kind that comes from emotional wisdom. There are couples who completely transformed their finances when they decided to unite instead of compete. John and Lisa, both in their 50s, lived decades in silence. He handled the bills. She avoided the topic. When the debts began to grow, they finally decided to talk. No accusations, just honesty. Within 6 months, they had a plan. Within 2 years, they were debt-free and closer than ever. They didn't win the lottery, they gained awareness. And awareness, after 40, is worth more than any investment. Spirituality also teaches that money is a mirror of our relationship with the flow of life. If there is blockage in communication, there is blockage in prosperity. Talking about money is, ultimately, talking about trust. And trust is the soil where abundance grows. So, if you want financial growth after 40, start by healing the dialogue inside your home. No investment yields more than an honest conversation. Reflect for a moment. What's being avoided in your financial relationship? What are you not saying out of fear of hurting, even though silence is already doing the harm? Prosperity is not born from what you accumulate. It's born from what you align with yourself and with the one who walks beside you. Today, the invitation is simple. Schedule a coffee, a dinner, or just a quiet moment to truly listen. Not to point out mistakes, but to understand what the other person feels. Transform money from an enemy into an ally, from a taboo into a tool, from a burden into a bridge. Because when love and money align, a couple doesn't just survive, they flourish. And remember, starting over is an act of emotional courage. A mature financial life is not built with haste, but with presence. Every sincere conversation is a brick in the construction of freedom. Every conscious agreement is a seed of prosperity. And every step taken together is a reminder that true wealth isn't in the bank balance, but in the harmony of the path you share. Prosperity after 40 begins in the heart, flows through awareness, and only then reaches the wallet. And if today you decide to take that first step, believe me, the invisible wound begins to heal. Fear turns into strength. Silence becomes unity, and lack transforms into flow. Because to prosper in maturity is this: it's learning to talk about what once hurt, to heal together what once divided, and to build with love what fear once tried to hide. So speak, listen, reframe, and begin now your new chapter of prosperity, abundance, and financial freedom after 40. Did you like this video? Then you know what to do. Hit like, leave a comment, share it, and subscribe. Remember, this content is just the beginning. In the link below, in the comments, you'll find something special to keep growing.